Hello everyone, this is Jack and welcome back to my channel. We are spending the next 5 days in Baltimore and it's due to my partner having work over there. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have actually gone and visited it myself. Baltimore is a major city in Maryland with a long history as an important seaport. Fort McHenry is the birthplace of the U.S. national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner, which sits at the mouth of Baltimore's Inner Harbor. Today, this harbor area offers shops, upscale crab shacks, and attractions like the Civil War era warship, the USS Constellation, and the National Aquarium, showcasing thousands of marine creatures. Today, we're just getting our feet into the city of Baltimore, and I go on a couple of days of exploration by myself while my partner buckles in and does work at our hotel away from the city. Transportation to the airport and the flight over were a breeze. Also caught a couple of rainbows on the way over, as we usually do. Can you spot them here? Okay, so a couple of snags upon arrival. We decided to go get tickets for public transportation because I didn't know how their app was, and it varies from city to city, and I usually like to have a physical card just in case something goes haywire or I don't have access, like data, where I need to have it in order to tap my app. All the people that we asked also didn't have apps for their transportation, so we wasted a few tickets trying to purchase multiple day passes because you can only buy the day of day passes at a machine. Not a good start. So when we got to the hotel, they weren't ready for all 250 people. They had a conference the past week and they were cleaning all of the rooms, and it was a 3-hour wait, and they were shifting waves of people to check in, but we had to explore the casino and get some food prior to that. Otherwise, there was just a lot of sitting around. They did have pretty cool art on the walls, but that doesn't count for all of the really high-priced items that are in all of the restaurants that are located in this mall area. Luckily, there was an area to walk around and do a circuit and to do some shopping if you really wanted to. Sales tax is only, 6%? So it really was nice as opposed to Southern California's 9.5% tax. Anyway, we opted for the Korean spot that was known for their food, but oh my god, it was 1.5 times the cost of how much dishes were in Los Angeles, and that's already expensive. For those two items that we had on our table, it was over $50. This is the room. It is decent. We got 2 beds even though we were only 2 people, and I didn't leave the room for the rest of the night. The shower was leaking onto the floor, and so we had to put towels so that we didn't slip and die. Dang, this is a gym. The gym was in the spa, and that's where I got water daily. They had a filter system, which was awesome. And then it was time to head to the mall so that we could actually see what's around and check it out before my partner had to go to work, aka have a reception for dinner. This bakery looked really good, and I think they're owned by Koreans also. I think they literally own most of the businesses, if not the whole casino. Everything in the mall looks really huge and is very reminiscent of Vegas. This looks like Luxor. Even with... That's crazy, the size of that. But bam. That's not what I meant. Bro. What the fuck? Bruh. Oh my god. This really is like an amusement park. It's so big. Everything is so big. Wow. Wow. Why isn't it a triple X? Oh. Those are headlights. What the hell?
Well,
this is crazy. It's so crazy.
who's going to make it heavier?
You could be from the... Always interconnected. I love this bag. Earthbound. Oh, look. Like, bruh, come on. How do you not?
Like very thin little productions.
So I've actually been to an Earthbound trading company before, and they are based out of Orange County, I believe. So very Californian vibes. Look at this wizard frog. Look at those stickers.
The stickers I impulsively purchased.
Oh wow, look at the free spirit and boho hippie clothing, jewelry, and accessories that also spill into home decor with earthy vibes and a unique style. Apparently real butterflies too, from different parts of the world, aka South America. And then we found a Medieval Times, which was actually closed this day, and a couple of other stores that look really niche. And that was kind of it. I was pretty tired since we had been up since 4 in the morning, and although the time difference is 3 hours ahead, I decided to call it an early night. This was my outfit for the next day. I wanted to be all cute and gothic, but yeah, it was really strange because I found out that nobody really dresses up like in Los Angeles over here in Baltimore. Also, since it is cooler, a lot of people are in their jackets and just trying to survive winter, which is on its way. So the next day, I had a huge issue with transportation. I thought that I could take the bus into the city, take the train, and then get into Baltimore. Well, that wasn't the case. The first bus that actually showed up over 30 minutes after the fact that it said it was going to on Google, the bus driver stopped the bus and I got onto her bus and she yelled at me, "Get off my bus!" And then I was like, "I just have a quick question for you. We're not from here," because it was me and a couple of other people with luggage. And I was like, "We just wanted to ask when you would be leaving again because we've been waiting a long time for the bus." And she's like, "You don't talk to me like that." And I was like, okay, clearly we're not going to be getting any answers from this lady because she needed to use the restroom and she wanted to lock up her bus and kicked us all out. So I got a Uber because there was no way I was going to wait for another bus to come, and that was $25 just to get into the city. Granted, it was over a 40-minute drive, but I started my day at Miss Shirley's Cafe, and I had a whole day planned out with a couple of museums as well as some beautiful views of the inner harbor. I got the signature chicken and waffles dish from Miss Shirley's Cafe, and I couldn't finish it, so I took the leftovers with me as I went to my first location, which was the Walters Art Museum. Now, when you're in Baltimore, you're able to get some buses, but note that if you don't flag them down, they're just gonna pass by you. So I had to walk several times because I didn't know this until after I asked a local. Anyway, Walters Art Museum is a public art museum located in the Mount Vernon neighborhood. It has a collection encompassing over 36,000 objects from all around the world, and admission is free. One thing that the museums do tell you is that you cannot, under any circumstances, have a backpack on, no matter if it's small or not, but they have free lockers in which you could put your stuff. These are some of my favorite things that I found at the museum that day. Of course, I had to get some artsy shots because that's what I do whenever I visit a new place, and also it inspires me to do so as a fellow creative. I highly encourage you to take your artsy photos of yourself in the space as well, as long as there's no one around, because clearly there was not a lot of people around. It was during the middle of the week, although there was actually one field trip there. This place was huge and I made it in over 2 hours, but I would highly suggest you reserve 3, maybe even 4 if you like to read all of the plaques. They do have a hidden section, aka a mansion part, that is connected through the main museum area as well as other hallways, so be sure you ask for directions because even with a map I was still confused on how they labeled lower levels and annexes. I think the modern mansion area was my favorite part. It had almost a greenhouse effect as well as an old study and a lot of different sculptures that you could actually see on the outside of the museum as well. There's a whole area dedicated to just women, and yeah, this is the part that I really enjoyed. It had like this Tiffany blue painted room, and then you would go into other treasures, if you will. There's not much happening in this area either, but it is just really cool to see a beautiful house maintained. You also have gorgeous views of the sky here, so you could watch the clouds a little bit if you really wanted to, including a dining room. I believe this is where the Walters used to reside back in the day. They even had the original china that is on the tables. Did you all have to read classic books like these? I know I had to read at the OG Gothic writer and literary horror poet Edgar Allan Poe. We will be visiting his gravesite shortly. I am in love with all of the graphics on these old books, and it's no wonder they put them behind a glass case because I would probably steal this if I could. I don't know what number of editions these books are, but I'm sure they are a pretty penny. I think you can also find old books like this on eBay somewhere. Check out this amazing spiral staircase. The molding is just so beautiful, and they do a really good job of dusting the entire place. And then these lion statues can actually be found outside. The sitting one is a replica or a small study of the one that is in the Washington Monument area, which we will see in just a bit. I do have a thing for small trinkets as well as real stones. And then armory items like old guns and stuff that aren't functioning anymore are just great for wall decor. I love naturalism, so more of those pinned butterflies. Hopefully these were ethically sourced. We've got costuming as well as old dead shrouds that you can wear upon someone's death, sarcophagi, and actual mummies from back in the day. It was really cool. They used x-ray machines to see what was inside instead of breaking them open and trying to undo thousands of years of preservation. This lion was like the one inside the museum. And that is right across from the George Washington Monument. Okay, next up, we're gonna go see Edgar Allan Poe's memorial grave. It's actually right by Westminster Hall and by the church's cemetery. There's also a law library over there as well as a research center. It's also across the street from a medical center's emergency room, dental clinic, surgery site, veterans hospital. It's literally found on the corner of West Fayette Street and North Green Streets. So Poe was buried with his wife, who was also his cousin, who he fell in love with. And when she passed away, he got really depressed. And that's probably what was the catalyst for a lot of his more morbid writings. But if you don't know this, Poe did have 2 graves at one point. He was originally buried in an unmarked grave at the back of the cemetery, but as time passed, his negligible burial site gained attention and funds were raised to create a proper memorial for him. So then it moved to a more prominent location at the front of the churchyard, symbolizing a resurgence of his legacy, if you will. This is Lexington Market. It has a bunch of eateries in it, and I was supposed to go there 2 days in a row, but ended up having leftovers to snack on later on, as well as too full from a breakfast the next day. So I didn't get a chance to get a bunch of different things from the market, but if you go there and you have time and you're in the area, I would check it out. All right, to the next museum. This artwork is by Raul de Nieves. He is a multimedia artist and performer and musician who lives and works in Brooklyn, New York. He is from Michoacan, Mexico, and he has these really cool beaded, naturalistic looking sculptures that you could actually touch lightly in the lobby and above the Baltimore Museum of Art. This is an art museum founded in 1914, and it has a collection of 95,000 objects encompassing more than 1,000 works by Henri Matisse, and anchored by the Cone Collection of Modern Art, as well as one of the nation's finest holdings of prints, drawings, and photographs. It's located in the Johns Hopkins University. It also has a sculpture garden, but I didn't get to that because I had other things that I needed to get to that were a little bit more time sensitive. This is Degas Ballerina. I actually got to see one of these at another museum at one point. Can you believe that this sculpture was actually not popular when it first came out? People thought that it was kind of ugly, and they were like, what is he doing? Not beautifying something that's supposed to be beautiful, like a ballerina. But now, because he's put so much realism into it, and it's kind of a unique look at ballet as an art form, of course now people love it. This isn't an original Rodin. This is a replica of the big thinker that is really large and in charge, usually outside. I do want to say the inside is really cool. It's mixed with classical architecture as well as modern lighting and a beautiful courtyard. They also have a Tiffany's section, which has a bunch of silverware as well as huge stained glass, which is what they are known for as a company. I really love unique furniture pieces like these and aspire to have a chase like this in my home one day. This table reminded me of like planets for some reason. Probably because they all look like geological rocks or something.
Favorite room. Ugh, these doors too. Ah, too Tiffany.
These were some of my favorite vases or vases ever, but yeah, this entire room was so beautiful. Tiffany blue was actually the chosen color by founder Charles Louis Tiffany in 1845 because of the popularity of the gemstone turquoise in Victorian jewelry, which symbolized purity and protection. It's literally now the colloquial name for the light medium robin egg blue color associated with the company. There is even a Pantone color called 1837 blue, named after the Tiffany's founding year. All right, here's some of my other favorite things in this museum as we're coming to a close. I love the detail on the silver here, and then this chair was really cool. It was painted, I believe, to look like this. And then giant mirrors that are hanging on the wall that have gilded edges. Some of my favorite. But this is also where I got yelled at for filming at this exploratorium area. I wasn't even taking video of the artwork. I was literally taking footage of this area, and someone had told me, I think it was a security guard, that I couldn't film. First of all, nobody had told me since I got into the museum that I wasn't allowed to film. Second, they don't have any signs. And also, do you really need to yell? I was literally the only person there, so I just don't understand what it is about Baltimore and people getting angry for no reason at people who are clearly not from there. This was a really cool tree trunk with a bunch of knitted texture over it. It had a quote from Malcolm X's speech. I was in love with the colors, and since it was autumn, it was very fitting for the time and place. The gift shop was also really stunning. They had a bunch of really unique gifts as well as wrapping paper and all types of books and stuff. Out of my price range, but nice to window shop at. And then it was time to head to the Inner Harbor. Earlier, I had mentioned that this is where the national anthem was created, as well as the home of the USS Constellation. But we were actually here to go to the top of the world observation level. This is the World Trade Center's 27th floor, and it has 360-degree views of the city and harbor. I didn't even know that they had their own World Trade Center Institute, but here we are. The person who was at the ticketing counter was really nice to me here, and tickets are only $8 for adults. I came up here while the sun was still up, but it was setting and it created beautiful long shadows all along the city below. This was also a time when there were a lot of boats going back in and out of the harbor, so really cool to see that as well. The ride up the elevator was really quick, and there was one guy photographing as well as one other family that was up there, and so it was really nice to be able to take some footage without having heads in the way or any other kids running around. I did love the fact that I could just post up anywhere and take footage as much as I wanted to, and the sun was so strong that even through the glass I needed to have my sunglasses on while seated and watching the view. If you don't know a lot about Baltimore, then this is where you could also find plaques of all the famous people that have been born here or made their impression by living in the city. Mainly it's people born from Baltimore. And they had a whole timeline of where these people stood in history. This is where I ate the rest of my Miss Shirley's Cafe chicken and waffles. It still tasted fine without needing to microwave it, and I just kind of enjoyed the city views while I quickly ate my meal so that I could head out to this other gathering that I found out about through online means. That wasn't enough to satiate me for dinner though, so I also looked around at other places that were highly recommended, and I found my next spot. So for dinner, I wanted to go to Little Donna's. Cooking has always been a part of Chef Robbie's life, and it started out like most people cooking at home with family. Robbie started making pierogies, aka European dumplings, with his grandmother Little Donna from Yugoslavia when he was young. He didn't want to cook, but he was the only one who could help her because he had patience and his hands were small enough not to tear the dough. He grew up with his grandmothers cooking soup, bread, and pie every single day in their house. This 4-foot 6'1.5" tall little lady would wake up every day with the sun and would not stop until midnight. She treated their home like a real-life commercial kitchen. No one ever came over and wasn't fed properly. And so Little Donna's is built on the values of hard work, honesty, and caring for others through comfort and a home-cooked meal. It was literally the best pierogies I've ever had in my life. And it was so filling that I actually had to save some and have my partner try it later. It was still good cold. I also got the option to add a bratwurst or two because that is just the way, and they recommended it. And quite frankly, it is and completes the richness of all the flavors on the plate. I really love how people decorate their front doors with fall items, and I'm sure it's a similar feel during the holiday season. And then it was time to head to The Point. The Point in Fells is a bi-level bar and restaurant pairing regional American fare with drinks and harbor views from its patio. Fells Point is a waterside known for its hip pubs, taverns, live music, as well as seafood joints serving Chesapeake Bay crab and oysters. There are small galleries, record stores, fashion boutiques, and eclectic restaurants that line the cobblestone streets along the harbor and Main Square. I actually got recognized by a couple of fans from my other YouTube channel, and that's kind of where I'm going to end the evening. It was a high point, finally. I got a lot of recommendations for eats and places to go to in the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that. My Uber driver back was also awesome. He was from Pakistan. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share so that other people can learn more about Baltimore and other trips around the world. Subscribe and click the notification bell so that you know when I have new content out. I post a new video every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And until next time, keep curious, everyone. Jack out.